How we doing? It's Yatta podcast time. We are here to educate, entertain, and lift the lid. My name is Russ, and on the left, I got my boy Aldo. On the right, I've got Mr. Charles Liddell.
And I think we're going to go places.
Personally, I'm really excited.
It's another Yatta podcast. Keep it locked. Another week, another podcast. The boys are back in town, much like the song of the same name. Gents, how are we doing? Obviously, we're not here to mess around today. We're here to have some serious chats, some big chats. And what we're going to kick off with...
What are we going to kick? I thought you had the list.
I have the list.
All right.
It's sitting in front of me. It's ready to go. Now, unfortunately, there has been a situation where people aren't getting taken care of in terms of contractors. We won't mention any names. We won't put ourselves in any blacklists. We won't chase any controversy.
Thanks, Russ.
At this early stage anyway. Gentlemen, do you think there is more to come? That's what it breaks down to.
I think there's a lot more to come. Aldo, your thoughts?
Throwing it straight onto me.
Absolutely.
We had an interesting meeting this morning actually with one of the biggest builders in WA, and I asked the general manager there this morning what he thinks on the delays. Even yesterday I spoke to another builder, and he was saying to me that there's extreme delays with fascia and timber, and the builder I spoke to today said the same thing. They said we have an extreme delay with timber as well, and it's a real concern. Like, they're looking at timber coming in only in August. Right, so
unless if they order it now.
That's if they order it now. So, the reality is, like, there's only so much timber in the world, and America's taken a huge amount of it, and other countries are having building booms just like Australia, and Australia's almost become a second thought. You know, it's like, oh well, that little island. You know what I mean? So, I mean, who's going to get more of the timber? Like a country like America or Australia? Like, America's going to get preference over Australia when it comes to supplies. You know, so. The reality is, yes, I think there's going to be more coming, more builders going bang, carrying this load, because they don't receive that payment from the bank unless they put the roof on. So they have to carry a lot of the build themselves at that stage. So I think there's more problems coming, you know. But there is a positive to it. We'll speak after I hear Charles's thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, as I said to you, I think there's a lot more to come as well. I think it's really going to separate the kids from the
big boys.
Exactly.
Big boys.
And in this situation, I think people with deeper pockets and people in a situation where they've planned ahead and they've got good relationships is going to definitely pay dividends. Some of the smaller ones that have tried to enter the market, in more recent times to capture the boom, are going to unfortunately potentially get caught out. So. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, I'm just directing Charles to not moving because he keeps going in and out.
I'm just not as good as you.
No, listen,
something that close to my face.
pretend you're just looking straight at me.
I know.
And like, be gentle with the mic.
Yes, that's what she said.
And also, I'd like to tell you that I'm going to sample that "Be Gentle with the Mic," and that is going to be the next Emotional Damage song coming. You watch. It's going to be on TikTok tomorrow. That said, though, now based on what you guys just said, do you think this is eventually going to lead to a change in the way that builders get paid? Because I remember, Charles, both of you noted last week, the issue is because the builders get paid so late. I mean, in the actual process, a lot of things can go wrong before that. And like, if we have a lot of supply issues like we do now, we end up in that situation where people are having to wear a lot of wages, having to wear a lot of this. Do you think that's going to fundamentally change, or do you think that from the bank's point of view, they're happier where it's at, because whether they pay out or not doesn't really affect them?
Well, I mean, I think the banks are happy where it's at because their risk is mitigated as it currently stands with the payment schedules, and that's why they've got them in place. They've got a huge amount of data to review to make sure that it works for them. Is it going to change? It'll take something like federal or state government to come in and step in and facilitate a change in that respect. So, look, I think the issue is going to stick around for a while. No one's got a crystal ball to look into and say this is what the outcome is going to be. There's a lot smarter people around than Aldo and I hate to admit.
Look, the reality is, I think things will calm down a little bit as well. Like with delays, like. Building's always been popular in WA especially, but things will calm down a little bit. Brickies will come back on board. Supply will probably ease up a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue where we need to start changing policies and stuff. But I think, again, the client's got to be careful where they go. Like, pick a builder that's backed, don't go too big. You know what I mean? Like we said before in last week's podcast, like be, choose your size carefully.
Correct.
No, but honestly, just, do a bit of research. Look, do research. And, if you were buying a pair of underwear, most people look at what brand they're buying. I don't know. I do anyway. But be careful who you just go out and choose to build your biggest asset you're ever going to buy. You know what I mean? So it's common sense, to be honest with you.
I agree.
You'd think it was common sense.
You would.
Yeah.
But I think
you'd hope.
What Aldo said is
it's good to be educated. Just do some research. Simple. Come to Yatta. Don't worry about everyone else. We'll do the DD for you. It's fine. Sam, come sit down. Come join us in the podcast.
You're making us nervous.
Forget about the rolling. We've got the cameras going.
For those at home, here's our multimedia star, stud, and all-round hilarious man, Mr. Sam Williams.
Just put that on Charles's beautiful face.
Exactly. Just
look. I think there is a lot of negatives at the moment with what to do and all this sort of stuff in Shonky Builders. I would stay away from all those platforms at the moment. If I was a client looking to buy, it's very easy to get sucked up into the negativity. What you're forgetting though is building a home is a beautiful process. So if you do your DD properly and, essentially you're motivated, it's going to be a good experience provided that you pick the right builder. So I think, do your DD.
Yeah.
What does DD stand for, Charles?
Due diligence. You said it like 3 times, you monkey.
There you go. Just making sure you know.
Thanks. No, I agree with Aldo. I think ultimately, if you do a little bit of research, you'll get a good idea as to who you should be building with and who you feel best and comfortable with. And, that's where you should ultimately be. If you make some effort into doing some research, you'll find that you're better educated and you'll pick a better builder. Anyway.
Enough about this builder nonsense. What juicy stuff we got to talk about today that's actually interesting?
Well, here's a fun one. So we had a one of our meetings that we had, Team Yatta, for those at home. We met with a builder who was talking about a few different ideas that he would love to see out there. One of them being the lack of pickup when it comes to charging electrical vehicles, which at the table we all like, hang on a minute, that makes all the sense in the world. How come this hasn't been picked up? What A, do you think there's a future for that? And B, what other things would you like to see become commonplace that aren't? Because as they say, some of the best ideas are things that seem straightforward. It's just no one's had the balls to pull it off.
We have to plan for the future, right? So when you buy a house, you're not buying it for 1 year or 2 years. Essentially, most people, let's say 75% of people are buying a house for, 10, 15 years. It's your family home. New technology comes out and your house is not compatible. So there's an issue there. So, making your house future-proof is important. So EV, electric vehicle ready, is a super important thing we're looking into. Other things like, having the tech in there, like, not like your aircon system, like it's, instead of just having an on and off button, like having like other integrations with your aircon, like my home zone and all that sort of stuff where you can, what does my home zone even do these days? I don't even fucking know.
Anything you want to do.
Pretty much, you know what I mean? Like it's integrated into technology.
I think yes, we need to be future-proof as much as we possibly can. We need to take advantage of technologies that are available for homes today. And one of the ideas of making sure that you can, cater for an EV that you can do fast charging on over long-term charging, I think is something that is practical. So
let me bring 2 examples up if you guys don't mind. Is that all right with you?
Mate, that's what we're here for, baby.
All right. Yeah. So I was recently in Cape Town in South Africa, and there's this thing called load shedding, right? So load shedding is when the government doesn't have enough coal essentially to power the nuclear plants or power plants or whatever, and each suburb at different times of the day share the load. So for example, you might live in a place called Camps Bay, and your power will be off 3 times in one day for 2 hours. So from 10 till 6 or whatever, you get what I'm saying, 3 times a day, right? So a lot of the houses have their backup generators. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, why do you have to have old school generators and put petrol in and power up the lights? And where's the solar power? But it's not really a common thing there, So, and the other thing is like having your own rainwater system and your own tanks, because there was a huge shortage in Cape Town in particular with with water as well. So it's like if you can kind of future-proof it to the point where, I think there was an issue recently in Australia with the power of supply as well.
Old mate Elon stepped in South Australia and they ran that massive plant.
But then if we just have if we have most of our houses all have solar, that eliminates the issue, right? So we have solar, boom, you save on energy, and it's future proof. Then with water as well, like, I mean, what are we doing with rainwater? Why don't we put rainwater tanks? So there's these things we can look into in future proofing the houses as well, more standard.
I think all of those points are 100% viable, except they're cost inhibitive. And one of the things that we need to be conscious of is that we're trying to provide homes for people with limited budgets. And when you're starting to put batteries in there, there's 3, 4, 5 grand depending on what kind of kilowatt hours you want. When you want to put solar panels in, again, the size of home is going to dictate the number of solar panels to be viable. We've got limited size blocks, so where do we put these rainwater tanks? All valid points, all things that we're looking into as part of our ranges that we move forward, but ultimately it comes down to affordability. So that comes down to the question as to what is important, and that changes for from person to person.
It does actually raise a really good point in terms of a meta point, which is future proofing versus budget, because these are definitely two things we're going to have to balance. And like you guys said, in terms of future proofing, there's a lot of stuff there that you mentioned that would almost be normally in the realm of your weird hippie mate type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who would have had a rainwater tank 10, 15 years ago? That wasn't
I recently did a house for a client in Lake Clifton, and his slab went down today. Actually, I got to text him. Yeah, he's super happy. He texted me. I haven't texted him back. Give me half an hour. It doesn't sound good. Maybe cut that out. I will text him back. I've been in the podcast anyway. His slab went down today. He's got a rainwater tank out there that lasts 9 months essentially. So he gets it filled up once a year, and it lasts 9 months, and then the rain will keep topping it up essentially, right? So there's no water runnings down in Lake Clifton.
I was about to say, from Lake Clifton, I'm pretty sure the mains are pretty limited through there. That's the joys of having a stepdad who used to be the water court boss down that way.
Well, just on Lake Clifton, me and Charles were having a chat earlier on today, and how excited we are about doing Yatta Midwest. So we want to focus on giving people an opportunity to build in that Midwest, Kalbarri, Geraldton region. One of our very close building partners has a really, really good construction manager and a good team of bricklayers and a really good supervisor up there as well. So really good trades. And we feel like the market there I don't feel like people there have the quality that they do in Perth, or the option. So we really want to do some stuff in that Geraldton sort of Kalbarri region. What do you think, Charles?
Yeah, I think what we've been
I know
doing,
what you think, but tell the audience what you think.
We spent all day together, so you should know what I think. I mean, ultimately, again, what we're doing is we're spending a lot of time and effort putting in to do the DD in not only the product, but the builders that we're aligning ourselves with, and ultimately the clients that we want to bring on board. So it's part of the process that we're going through, and very excited about the meeting that we had today, because I think it sort of expands us to a whole new market with really great product.
We want to do the Southwest as well. Like, you obviously, I mean, we spoke about like how people in Australia especially like have two homes. You have your Perth home, maybe you have an apartment in the city or Subi or something, and then you want something in Busselton. It doesn't have to be big, but it's at 350 grand in Busselton, but there's your holiday home. It's your little paradise. So
not only that, I mean, I've had at least one customer come through when I was working for another company, and they were very open about the fact that if you're down south or in the Midwest and you don't like the 2 or 3 builders you have to choose from, bad luck. Like, if you just don't, if the small amount that's there has pretty much monopolized the market, but if you don't feel that connection, well, move or don't.
That's pretty much.
And that's sort of the like it or lump it sort of approach that I've heard from people, down Bunbury way and up Geraldton way as well. So, I mean, hey, if we can throw our hat in there, I mean, it's not like...
If we can give clients the Yatta experience all over WA, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's
they definitely can't get that.
Talk to us more about Aldo's vision of the Yatta experience.
Well, Charles, we can't give all our secrets away on this podcast because people will copy us. So if you want to know the Yatta experience, come and build with us and we'll show you.
Oh,
I was
about that.
I was about to set up the Al Green playing slow, and it's just like the Yatta experience.
Well, let me give you a little example, right? So me and Charles have recently been looking for premises, right? And we had the option of taking a beautiful premise next to the Ferrari building in Perth, and it's an amazing premise. It's high tech, and we would have put our Yatta spin on it, which is making it better. That's what we want to do. That's essentially what we're all about, making first homes better, or homes better in general.
But we didn't go for it.
No. So what we decided was basically let's take a premise that's a lot more homely. It is a home. It's been converted into an office. It's in a really nice. It's in Subiaco. And it's got that sort of old 1970s vibe with a modern touch. And I think that, it's different to what all the other builders are doing. You're not walking into this like standard boardroom and like a sales room. It's got soul.
It's got soul. I think, ultimately, Aldo and I put a lot of energy, faith, our personality, and our vision into what's going on. And we're not selling a vanilla product. And as we keep coming back to
vanilla.
Do you know where vanilla comes from? Google it, guys. You'll have a great time.
Bean.
No, doesn't it come from beavers or something?
Yep. It's
really.
We don't have to elaborate on where, but I believe it does come from beavers.
Yes, it comes.
I
from
think you
beavers.
can probably use your imagination of whereabouts.
Semen.
No, not quite.
Okay. Well, that's where my head's at, obviously.
Just
Is it
Clearly.
Is it the mic?
Don't know. It's, I got,
we said Yatta experience and things just got weird. But all jokes aside, in terms of the office space, now you're obviously trying to avoid a lot of the very bland, very soulless, very minimalist look that we've seen at a fair bit of our competitors. What are you going to do to this building that's going to make it different? What's the spin that you're looking to put on it? And because I'm guessing both of you are both going to put something small in there that's going to.
Small. What are you talking about? Small.
We want a place to be good for clients and for staff as well. So for me, it's important that clients have a good experience and the staff working with us have a good experience as well. Like, we want to make it a place where everyone wants to come to work. Like this room we're in now is cool. I want to build the same room in our office. You know what I mean? A bit better than this, to be fair. So we have like a media experience room in our office. So look, I don't want to give too much away on what our ideas are, but essentially we want to make a self-contained media hub, building experience center for clients that can come there and, really learn about what it takes to build a home and feel comfortable.
I think comfortable is what resonates with me. I think, we constantly talk about people feeling like they're on a production line and a lot of the experiences that are out there.
Yeah.
You literally are on a production line.
It's true, yeah.
It's cold and heartless. The reason why we have gone with a home is because we're inviting people to be part of our family. Remember, we're choosing the client as much as the client is choosing us. If we don't feel that we can service that client properly, and we're not going to be able to meet their expectations, it's probably not going to be a good fit because it's not going to be a good experience for us or them.
Yeah, that's very important. Like a normal company will take on whoever they can because it's business. With us, it's a bit different. We have to choose. It has to be a right fit for both parties because it's a journey that's going to take, let's say, anywhere from 12 to 15 months, depending on titles and finance and building timeframes and stuff. We have to be on the same page. If we're not, it's not going to be a funny. I don't want the client calling me and thinking, "Fuck, old mate again," or vice versa. Seriously, because you want, and that happens because some people just don't connect. So there's, I don't know how many fucking people in the world. 8 billion. I don't know.
Something stupid. Yeah.
We don't need 8 billion houses a year to build. I'm happy with 100 homes a year.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
that's only one every 3.65 days. That's fine.
Yeah. Good quick math there.
How did you work out that maths? That would have taken me years to figure that out.
Thanks, Sam.
I think it's wrong. Is it actually right?
No, 365 days a year.
Hold on.
And 100 days, 100 homes, 365 days, 3.65, yeah.
Well, Rusty, there you go.
Are you sure you weren't working that out on your computer? Because there's no way you could get that from like
100 days to
decibel.
365. Yeah, it's not that complicated.
Oh,
it sounded more complicated than it is.
I was about to say, it's like walk
You
away.
only-
Save
You're
that one for date night. Save that one for date night. It's a good one.
Yeah. When you take your girlfriend out, say that exact line. Make sure she doesn't listen to this podcast.
What?
And
it's going to be so hard to keep her away from the podcast. So let's be honest,
I know.
guys.
All right, what else
he's
we
gonna
got?
be up
Are there
against
any
it.
juicy
Well,
topics?
We've got time for one more for this week. I'll throw the floor open because I've got a fair few things for the next episode. Do we have anything small that we want to finish on, guys? I mean, the joys of having a new office space, which hell yeah for us. You're going to see copious amounts of it on social media. You guys are going to hate it. We're going to love it. It's going to be great.
I don't really have a lot more to add because I think nothing I can say is going to be short. So.
Charles always speaks for hours, so yeah.
This is true.
Well, what we'll do, guys, we'll leave it there for this week. That's been another part of Yatta podcast for the week. English is my second language. I'm Russ. There's Charles. There's Aldo. Thanks for tuning in this week. Next week, we've got some bits, some pieces, and some treats.
Don't forget old Sammy.
Yeah, Sam's here too.
Oh, mate. No love for the social media guy. If you don't see me on next week's episode, Sam has murdered me. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, I'll just blow your face out. Won't I?